Hello and welcome to this second session for ClearCare. And in this session we're going to look at tasks. So we talked about there were overdue tasks, tasks due today, pending approval, rejected tasks, draft tasks. They were the ones that we were focusing our time on. And we haven't yet sort of asked the question really, what does ClearCare consider to be a task? Well, ClearCare considers anything you're doing, whether it's a form, a document upload, whether it's you downloading something or filling in a log, it's all a task. And where it gets very confusing and where people really struggle with when they start with ClearCare is to say, well, for example, you want to do a cleaning rota for a child's room. So you go on to the child and you look for cleaning rota. You can't find one, so you think the system's broken. I often hear that said. System doesn't work. But it'll help you, I think, if you understand ClearCare in two clear ways. One side is that you have tasks, which are the things that need to be completed. And on the other hand, they get filed, as we saw, into those drawers. So the blue drawers that come across, if I go for example, let's go for a young person, and we look for a test person, child, we're going to find there's a number of these blue filing cabinet drawers there, see? And we said that when the tasks are done, ClearCare very cleverly automatically files them away for you, but where do they come from? How do you know where to get the task from in the first place to fill in? And I want you to think of ClearCare as three like filing cabinets. So you've got an employee's filing cabinet or library, you've got a young person's library, and you've got a home's library. So let me say that again. I want you to think in terms of the sources of information as having three libraries. Sets of filing cabinets on the one side where it all goes to. Where's it all come from? Three libraries. So the home's library will have a different set of forms to the young person's library, which will have a different set of forms to the employee's library. And the easiest way to get your head around it, as I said, is who is it for? So our cleaning rota for it, or a cleaning form for a child's room, what are you cleaning? You're not cleaning the child, you're cleaning the room. So where's it going to come from? It's going to be a home form. So in that example, you would be under Daffodil House. You want to clean part of the house, say. How are you going to find a form for cleaning? Well, once you're in the right library, you just create a task. So that blue button there, and there are a selection of all the forms that we have on ClearCare for the house. Now, at the moment, you'll see that there is the daily weekly cleaning log, and that's the closest. So we'd pull up that log, we'd fill it in, and we specify that we were cleaning the child's room. But we might be doing it with the child. So you think, okay, it was, say, an activity. But this time it's not for the house, it's the activity is for the child. So the cleaning log was for the house because you were doing it for the house. This time you're doing it for the child's. So you think, right, I need a different library of forms. You're going to go to pick your child that you've just been doing the cleaning with. You filled your house login for the room. This time you want to say, what did I do with the child? I want to record my activities with them. And so you'd look through all of these forms and you would find, so let's just see if there is one for activity planning. And you can see as we go through, they're all in alphabetical order. You might, for example, just as I'm looking down here, want to do it as a key working session where you've done something with the child. Now, at the moment, I'm not yet seeing one. So when you're watching this video, if you catch it faster than me, you're doing well. and we might need to have a specific activity planner on here. But let's assume, just for the case that we're up here now, on here, there we are, sorry, activity form for a child, that once you've found the form, and you saw then as I'm doing it, sometimes it's hard to locate something, but once you've got it, you click on the form, you simply click, and we'll do that in a minute, you fill in the activity for the child, and then for the house, the same activity, if you like, was actually something you needed to record about cleaning, and we had the cleaning form. So you've gone into one library for one set of forms for the child, which is what you did, was the cleaning was an activity for the child, you weren't cleaning the child, but you've gone into the library of the forms for the house for the right form for cleaning the house, because it's for the house. So that's the easiest way I can say. So you saw what I did then, and I'm just going to say it one more time, or go through it one more time. If you want, and we're picking for the child at the moment, something that is happening to and for that child, and we want to create something. So you see here, we've got a body map, positive behaviour support plan, we've got a placement plan, and you can see there that there's the drawers of the cabinets. There you go, all there. So how did we get to them? We said, well, okay, the body map was for the child, the positive behaviour support was for the child, the placement plan is for the child. So what are we going to look for? A form for the child. And in this case, we've had a body map. We need an incident form to go with the body map. So it's for the child. We go into that library of forms and we find it there as an incident form. Let's just say our incident had been something to do with physical restraint. There you go. Physical intervention is for the child. Okay, so you're looking, that's the easiest way I can say to you. Now, I've just noticed there is the occasional one. There's always the occasional one. Now, you've also got in that physical intervention debrief staff, but also you will find on there, by the way, that there is a debrief for the child, and there's also a debrief section for the child on there. So I'm confusing things a little bit, but on the whole, you'll see that all the other forms that we're going through here are all forms for the child. Employees, if we go to David, and I'm going to create a task, now you'll see all the forms are for a staff member. So you won't find a cleaning log on here, you won't find a placement plan on here, you'll find a forms all around for a staff member. All right, so that's a simple way I can describe tasks to you. There is one more thing that we're going to look at. So I'm going back to my young people where I found my body map. And I'm going to go on to my body map because I want to add a little bit more to my body map. So let's click the body map. And I'm going to add something, but oh look, nothing's happening. Can't do anything to it. Why? And this is the other area people say, I tried the form, I went onto the form as you told me, couldn't make it work. It froze. Didn't freeze. You need to click that button. So let's not go too far on this. We've talked about creating a task, and that creates a brand new task. But when you come to reopen a task, ClearCare has a security feature on it that means you can't just rewrite it and rewrite and rewrite, so you don't overwrite what you already wrote. So here, there's an actions button, and what you would do in this instance is one of two things. You could either edit the task or you can copy to a new task. Now, what's the difference? If you copy to a new task, it's better from an audit point of view because it shows you, say, an incident form would be a good example. You have your original incident form, then as the incident develops, so you want to have another example of the same thing, or version 2, a version 3, a version 4 maybe. Or as your placement plan, there's your first placement plan, version 2, version 3, version 4, risk assessments, version 2, version 3, version 4. Copying to a new task takes all the information from one, but it adds it into a version 2. More adds it into version 3. If you just edit task, essentially you wipe over parts of what you've already done. It means that you can just go in, but you could also cut out what somebody else had written. And if that's what you intend, then edit the task. But if it's not what you intended, you want to keep what they've written and add to it, then copy to a new task. And it will make it very clear. So to have instant form, copy of instant form, copy of instant form, point 2, point 3, and so on, if you use that. But whichever, you can copy or edit the task from there. Once you press edit task, you get a box comes up that says, do you understand you're going to go into this record? Because it's a legal record, so it saves you tampering with something. You understand that you're going into the record, and now it's on the audit, it'll show that. But now you can edit bits on it, no problem at all. When you're finished, always save the draft and do that regularly as you work through it, especially with big documents. If you don't save your draft or submit it, then you will lose it. The information will have gone completely. You can't just restore it. If you save your drafts, you can go back to the last draft that you submitted. So always save your draft. And finally, submit it means it goes through to your manager or whoever for approval. Once it's submitted, you can't get it back straight away. You have to wait for the manager to turn it back to you as approved. Once it's approved, then you can alter things on it. So always save your drafts if the document's working. But remember this, if you, for example, are working on a handover or a daily log, you all work on that throughout the day. When you submit it, you need to submit it before you go home, or that log will stay open on everyone's ClearCare, and the record for the day won't be complete until you submit it. So always make sure somewhere along the line you're submitting the work. Now, people say, well, I kept it open all night and then all the next day because it was maybe one thing that happened. What you can do, though, if you want to make sure that you've differentiated, is you can save, say, a handover for that day, and you might do it when you finish in the evening shift, say at 10 o'clock. And then if something happens during the night of the same shift, you can then add a new log, completely new, and you can link them to the day before if it was linked to something that happened earlier. That's something we'll look at in another session. But right for now, what I'm showing you is essentially we've looked at in this session what are tasks. We've looked at when tasks happen on our summary page there. So I'm just going to go out of that. Don't save. We've looked at our summary page. We've looked at what tasks are. We've looked at where do we find the tasks, and we've talked about 3 libraries. So young people, employee, home. 3 libraries where you'll find different sets of forms, and we've looked at what those types of forms are, the different library forms. Then we've looked at, once you've got the right library, and I told you the easy way of remembering the library is that it's who it's for, who or what it's for. So if it's for the house, for the child, for the employee, look in that library for the source. When you've got your form or what you need to fill in, logging sheet, sorry, then you can carry out the task with that logging sheet. Once you've done it, save it as a draft, but preferably once you're sure it's all completed, you submit it. Okay, so if there's any questions, come back to me. But otherwise, thank you for watching this session. And in the next session, we're going to look at forms and procedures.